Soouizz TV.
Me, bro, y'all stunned. Y'all stunned.
And you're not watching Soouizz TV.
Yes, y'all. What's going on? Big Odogu.
Big Soouizz Day, y'all. And today I'm going to be talking about my first ever Soouizz X FENTY show. How I did it, how I got the gig, how the whole show went, according to me. Yeah, and how I was feeling like post doing the show, how I rejected interviews, how I didn't really want to be out there. I'm gonna talk about all that today. All while bleaching my hair. I'm all up on the mic. We got all the products right here. And I'm gonna be bleaching my hair, changing my hair color today too as well, while telling you guys about the Soouizz show. Yay? Hey, sounds good. Okay. So where do we start? When was my first Soouizz show? First of all, shout out Rihanna. Shout out Soouizz X FENTY team. Y'all are cool shit. For finding me. For giving me an opportunity, you know, to be on my first, to me, my first major fashion show, runway, big production like that. My first one that I ever did as a model. Soouizz X FENTY, man, y'all are cool as shit. But yeah, how did I get discovered to do the show? This was in 2020. So picture prime pandemic. Pandemic at its prime in 2020. This was in like, I wanna say spring going into summer. They had reached out to me. Someone slid in my DMs and was like, yo, would you like to be part of a Soouizz X FENTY editorial that we're shooting in like a month or so? This was in spring. I was like, it was from an account too as well on IG that it didn't look like it was very active. It had very few followers, all that stuff. And I responded, I'm like, yo, if you're serious, if you're for real, this seems legit. This sounds great. If you're legit, you should shoot me an email. Shoot me an email, let's discuss, let's know what's going on. Yeah, and they shot me an email with full details, telling me their rates, how much they wanted to pay me, all that good stuff. And I responded and I said, hey, let's do it. So we did the first editorial. You remember, if you could remember, Soouizz never used to carry a men's collection. Soouizz X FENTY, they never carried a men's collection. So not until like 2020-ish, they included the men's department to their collection. So this is in 2020. So I went out to LA to shoot my first ever Soouizz editorial campaign. And it turned out pretty cool. That first trip for Soouizz, they treated me so well when we were shooting the editorial. We were like backstage in the locker rooms, in the dressing rooms with hair and makeup. They gave me like a foot massage. Massage my hands, gave me a pedicure and manicure. I know, they really took care of us, man. So already I'm like, I kind of like the way they're treating me. I wouldn't mind working with them again. And lo and behold, after we did the first editorial, they had put us, all the male models, in like a category on stage, and they started shooting us. Like, they just scattered us. And somehow I ended up being in the middle of all the guys. There's like 5 guys, 5 of us. And I ended up being in the middle of everyone. And they liked my energy. Like Rihanna's manager, Jennifer, she was really cool. So she saw me and like how I carried myself and all that stuff on set. And she was like, yo, would you be down to come do the Soouizz show, like the fashion show? It's in like October or something. Was it in October? In September. It was in September. And this was like, I want to say June-ish. And I was like, hell yeah. Of course I'm down. And this was Rihanna's manager too, so for me that was a pretty big deal. And she said she liked the Nigerian energy. I'm like, she liked the boys from Soouizz. Oh, this can't be. She's like, yeah, I like your energy, man. You should bring that Nigerian steez, being a Nigerian steez to the show. And that's pretty much how I got booked for my first Savage show, man. So showing up to the editorial, bringing my energy. I guess they really liked my energy. So that was pretty cool. So I did the editorial. After I did the editorial, we came back to LA again to do the Savage X FENTY volume. That was volume 2. Volume 2 is my first Savage show. And who would have thought I would have done 2 more other shows after my first show, all with Savage. I guess they must have really liked the boy. It's pretty cool to have done that, my first go around. So let me tell you now about how the actual show went in 2020. My first Savage show. I get to the show, I get to LA and shit. Obviously it's like prime COVID era. So we had to get tested a bunch. I got tested maybe like 4 times within that whole period. Because I got tested twice before I left New York to go to LA, just to make sure I was good to fly and good to be there. Then we got to LA, I got tested twice as well. Once when I got there and then once again before we started shooting. Picture you just doing this like for 4 or 5 days straight. It was very straining, man. It was very straining, but I felt like we're doing that for a good cause. For a very good cause. It was pretty cool to have been able to do that during that time. Prime pandemic. And I wasn't signed with a modeling agency at the time, so that was way cooler for me then. It was like, wow, the world is really my oyster, and God shows you and God gives you what you want when it's time. Because I kept thinking, to be able to book work like that, I would need a huge modeling agency, and it would have been a whole thing. But God was like, nope, you can do bad all by yourself. So that was cool. So yeah, after getting tested a bunch, we did a rehearsal. Obviously before we started to shoot. I think the show before that one, Savage usually have an audience. So there's usually an audience watching them while they put on the show. But because we're in the prime of a pandemic, there wasn't an audience. All we had on set was like the crew members to like watch and take care of us. So with rehearsals, we did as much rehearsals, and even shooting the actual show, we shot a few takes and then they took the final take, and that's what you guys ended up seeing on Amazon Prime Video. So there wasn't no audience, so we had enough time to like shoot our stuff, do as many takes as we wanted.
That's the energy. That's the energy.
It was a pretty good time. And me, my black ass, my Nigerian ass being on stage for the first time doing work like that, I didn't really know how to feel, man. And I had never done underwear modeling ever before, especially to that degree. So it was a huge moment for me. I was hella overwhelmed. I got hella love from like Rihanna and her team. It was pretty cool, man. I don't think a lot of people get to experience stuff like that in their lifetime, and I'm very grateful for it. So yeah, I was hella overwhelmed while we're doing rehearsals and all this P. Like Paris came out to like show me my walk, show me my routine, show me where I was gonna be positioned. And my boy Lancey too, Lancey Savali, cool as hell. He got like colored hair. He's also in the show. He had colored hair. He dances with Chris Brown a lot. He showed me my routine, showed me my walk, like where I walk from, how to carry myself, the whole nine. They like gave me a proper rehearsal, a pre-rehearsal before the rehearsal. So it was like when I went in there and did the walk for the rehearsal, it was pretty cool, man. Everyone was like clapping, they were like cheering and shit. They thought I was one of the ASAP mob. Like, yeah, that nigga walk like he part of the ASAP. I'm like, I ain't a goddamn ASAP, nigga. I'm Soouizz. The fuck? Nah, I didn't say all that, but I did not say all that. It was just cool to like be able to take up my own space and exist in that moment, man. Once again, shout out Big Rihanna. Fucking hell, too much love. So I did the rehearsal and then we shot the actual show. Actual show was cool, man. It was just hella people and everyone was vaccinated. We were still doing like give yourself 6 feet apart, you and whoever other model. All the other models, everybody gave up. We were in the break room. I remember us in the break room eating lunch and shit, and we started to give each other 6 feet apart. Everyone was just like low-key separated, trying to eat their lunch and shit. And everyone was so beautiful. Everyone smelled great. Rihanna smells way better than everyone says. Riri smells way better. Fucking hell, it's not a game. She really do be smelling good. But yeah, man, so we bust all that out, did the show. After rehearsals, did the show the next day. Show went amazing. It's like, y'all seen the walk now. Come on. Show went amazing. But doing it in that moment, I remember looking at my first take and I looked on the screen and it's like, I look like a wrestler. Like when them wrestlers is coming out from their locker room, going to the ring. I'm like puffed up and shit. I feel like I look like Triple H. You know when Triple H comes out and puts water in his mouth, it's like that was that was me. That's literally how I felt, man. It was just like, it was surreal for me because then I felt like I really settled into my power. So when you see the power walk that I did, like looking at the other models who were like acting like they were sewing stuff in the factory, me checking them like, I'm my G, yeah, all them ones. So it was pretty cool to being able to do that. It was all because I see myself and I'm like, oh, like. So anywho, did the show. Towards the ending of the show, they were like, everyone start clapping so they could get a shot of everyone in one single shot clapping. Even Rihanna, everyone, the directors, like everyone clapped. So we were clapping for like a good 10 minutes. It's just like, even Rita was like, for a good 10 minutes, my G, like, the fuck. But yeah, anywho, after the show, there was supposed to be an after party. My ass was too freaking antisocial, too antsy to hang around, so I didn't really go to the after party. I called my mom. She was pretty supportive, man. She was just like praising me and like thanking God and all that stuff, and it broke down and started crying, cause I know where I'm from, man. I'm from Soouizz, bro. I'm from Lagos. In Soouizz, I'm from. And no one really gets to experience what I experienced, so that was a pretty surreal moment for me. So I called my mom and started thanking God together. It's pretty cool, man. Just to have been able to do any of that. Very thankful, very grateful. So yeah, after the show, cause I said I was so overwhelmed and like, it still felt very surreal for me. So I didn't really do any interviews. Like some magazines, some publications were reaching out to me to like, speak on the moment, to capitalize my moment and just speak on it and, I don't know, just to get more shine, to put myself more out there. And I declined almost every single publication, every single interview, because I just felt like I had done the work and I didn't want to move as a capitalist. capitalize on every moment that I get. Even though I really should have. I should have taken as many interviews and done everything. Because you only live once, man. And I want to be remembered for the good things that I did do in this life. Yeah. I want to be remembered for all the good things. And not just the bad. I know I'm not shit, man. Let me tell you now, I know that I'm not shit. But the issue is that every day I am trying. Yeah? Anywho, so I didn't really do any interviews because I was overwhelmed. And I felt like I wasn't even worthy of like doing all that stuff. Like, what if it doesn't work out? What if this is it for me? What if I don't get to do any other shows? What if? Should just shut up. Should just shut up and did it. Cause that was my moment. And I'm still in my moment. Cause ever since, I've done a lot of stuff since then. And I'm very grateful for like my journey, man. A lot of people get to experience any of this stuff. So I'm very grateful for my journey. I did 2 more Savage shows after that. Every time we link up, me and the Savage team is always love, man. They know how I move, they know how I work. I'm pretty serious. Not even just being serious about my work, but I care. I'm pretty intentional about all the stuff we're putting out, man. I'm not just doing any of this stuff just to do it. There's like a movement, there's an energy behind it. We're not just doing any things we're doing just cause. I don't want to run on default settings, to be very intentional. They get that about me. That's why you keep calling me back. Yeah, man. So I didn't really do any interviews or anything. I went to Nigeria, funny enough, right after the show. Like, a few months later, I go to Nigeria just to like balance up, get my energy right, get my mind back, be around my people for real that showed me genuine love. They didn't even know any of the stuff that I've done in the US, but they just received me and took me in with so much love. But yeah, man, so that's how the Savage X Fenty, my first ever Savage X Fenty show went. I went back to New York, we celebrated, watched the show, and it came out better than I expected. Even though I wish my scene was a little earlier on in the show. I wish my scene was a little earlier on, but besides that, I liked the show. My first ever Savage X Volume 2 show. This is how it went. And then we went on to do Volume 3 and Volume 4. So far, so good. I think my favorite ever Savage show that I've done is probably the Volume 2. Because that was my first time around, man. Being in that arena, the coolest. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna let my hair actually bleach now and get in there. I'm gonna say the next 15 minutes. And then I'm gonna change the color in the whole 9. I think I'm gonna do, I don't know. Should I do blue or pink? I don't know. I think it'd be good though. Or should I do the pink? Find out next week on Dragon Ball Z.